What is up, Planeswalkers? Theric6 back with some more Magic the Gathering Arena, and today we are doing the final Guilds of Ravnica Guild Mechanic budget version. Now, after I finish this, I put this out as well as a couple other decks, we're going to start our dissection of these decks as non-budget versions. So we're still going to have the decks be focused on the actual guild mechanics, however, we're going to branch out and allow for rares and mythics. Now, as you can see, I currently don't have any rares. So those videos are going to be essentially coming out as I am able to make the decks, pretty much. This one was a little hard to pin down, and the reason for that is there are many good payoff cards for casting spells, but the individual jumpstart spells aren't fantabulous. Now, why do I say it? Why do I say that? Well, they just do just barely enough to be playable. And that's why I'm running the spread that I am. It's also why I'm running 3 spells that don't actually have Jumpstart. As you can see, the deck has very few actual individual cards. This deck has 10 cards that are unique. Just 10. And the reason for that is we want this deck to be incredibly consistent. We want to see exactly the stuff that we need as many games as we can. Now, I think I will start with the payoff cards. I'm running 12 creatures. 12 creatures total. And the reason for that is we want to maximize our ability to cast spells because the spells are what allow our actual creatures to do things. Electrostatic Field is a 0/4 that allows us to block against the aggressive decks, and it just over time pings your opponent. Now, when I first saw this card, I was not overwhelmed. I wasn't whelmed. I was just I wasn't underwhelmed. I was just meh. I didn't really consider the implications of this card, but this card's damage adds up. If your opponent just doesn't remove it, not only does it save you several points of life, it also just pings your opponent. It makes shocks deal 3 damage, it makes lightning strikes deal 4 damage, and over time, the ability to make your card draw spells deal damage is actually very strong. That's the same reason Guttersnipe is great. Unfortunately, Guttersnipe fails at one point of Electrostatic Field, in that it's not a great blocker. It's a very weak card stat-wise, which means it dies to pretty much everything. Sometimes you will be able to attack in for a couple actual attack damage against, say, control opponents that haven't been able to deal with Guttersnipe yet. But the fact that this deal turns every card in your deck, staples a shock onto it, is incredibly strong. If this card is not answered, casting only 2 spells drops your opponent down to 16. That's ignoring whether or not that is burn damage, right? Even if those were 2 shocks, right, they're now down to 12 from just playing 2 shocks and a Guttersnipe. That's very strong when you consider the fact that a lot of the stuff in this deck just deals damage to people. It's very strong. That said, it dies a lot, and I kind of obviously it'd be a different card, but I wish that this card was like a 0/3 or a 0/4 like Electrostatic Field and just costs 1 more to get the 1 point of damage. That said, it's very strong. Your opponent's going to have to either remove it or die. Crackling Drake. Now, I wasn't sure between this and Murmuring, whatever its name is. It's a 4-mana card. Where are you? Murmuring Mystic. I wasn't sure between this and Crackling Drake and this. I figured that Murmuring Mystic got value just like the other 2 based on casting spells. However, what I found was once you get to 4 mana, your opponent is hopefully going to be so close to dead that making those 1/1 birds is not going to be very important, and the 1/5 body is also not going to be very important. Crackling Drake, on the other hand, gives you gas, which is potentially going to be burn damage, or it is able to just attack through for lethal, especially when you have a lot of removal in the deck to remove any flying blockers. Speaking of removal, we're running 2 shocks, 4 lightning strikes, and 3 beacon bolts. Shocks and lightning strikes can go to the face or remove things. There's not really too much more to talk about those, they're just strong cards. Beacon Bolt allows us to hit pretty much everything because of the fact that we're casting so many spells, and this still counts things that we have already jump-started that are in exile. This card is very easily going to be 5 to 7 damage on average once you get to the late portion of the game where you really need to be removing things in order to try and find that last bit of damage to go to your opponent's face. Sonic Assault is kind of like a weird half removal, half fog, half shock. It's so strange. This card is great if you're trying to survive, since it's an instant. You're able to tap down your opponent's strongest creature so you don't get blocked, or so you don't get domed by it. If your opponent only has 1 blocker or 1 flying blocker, you can use this to tap it down and attack with Crackling Drake. It also just deals 2 damage to your opponent. Unfortunately, you do need a creature to target with this. Sometimes you will tap your own Electrostatic Field just so you're able to deal the last 2 points of damage to your opponent. But the creature doesn't have to be untapped. So, for example, if you attack with Guttersnipe, you can still target Guttersnipe with Sonic Assault in order to deal the last, like, 4 points of damage if your opponent's at 4, because Guttersnipe will also trigger. That said, this card is actually a lot stronger than I expected it to be. I still only have it at 2 because it is, like, so dead often against control, because they are removing our threats as well as they are not having threats until like the super late portion of the game, and I would rather just have more burn. It's possible that you should take out a single Beacon Bolt and add in another Sonic Assault. However, I find this spread to be pretty good. And the last pieces of our deck are the, 11 card draw spells. We're running 4 ops. Early game, it allows us to make sure we have enough mana to cast our cards. What we really want is about 4 or 5 mana, and the rest of our lands are just fodder for Jumpstart. That's pretty much how the deck is meant to operate. We want to get turn 1 land, turn 2 land, up to turn 4, and then the rest of it, turn 4 or 5, and then the rest of it just throw away to Jumpstart. Opt helps us to make sure we're not drawing lands late. It allows us to make sure we are drawing lands early, and it also can sometimes save our butts. If we have like 4 mana and our opponent is potentially going to attack with a lethal creature, we can go ahead and opt, hope for a Sonic Assault, or if it's still our turn, a Beacon Bolt, and then make it so our opponent can't actually kill us. Radical Idea is pretty much just another card draw spell. It functionally makes it so we have fewer cards, like fewer technical cards in our deck, since we can just cycle it, and it is just a really cheap way to trigger our Guttersnipes and our fields. Chemister's Insight is that big chunk of card draw, which is really important. We want to make sure we don't run out of gas, and this deck is playing Instant Sorcery so quickly that it is functionally probable that we're going to run out of gas around the mid to late game. So we do just need that density of card draw. I originally ran this at 2, and I found that it just wasn't enough, so that's why I went with this. As you can see, this is a very straightforward deck, and it plays out very straightforward. You essentially want to play a Electrostatic Field or a Guttersnipe as quickly as you can, and then protect it, protect your life total, and just continually dome your opponent. Going up against Sebastiana, I wonder if that's like an actual feminized version of Sebastian. So this has a shock in it, which is nice, a Beacon Bolt, an Insight. This is fine. It doesn't... The reason I say it's fine is that we have lands, we have spells that like actually affect the board, but it doesn't have a field or a Guttersnipe, which does mean we're going to be kicking off a little slowly. If it had an opt, it'd be even better, but this is still a keepable hand. And we will play a Mountain first, because early game we will often play the Shock to Lightning Bolts, or Lightning Strikes, sorry, as removal spells, depending on how exactly aggressive our opponent is. This doesn't have haste, and we don't have a turn 2 play per se, so I'm fine ending combat here. Yeah, so that's fine, and the reason it's fine is we still have the ability to shock something if we have to. But typically, the 2-drop slot is still going to be something that's 1 power, and we'll take this damage, or sorry, 2 or less toughness, I should say. And we're fine taking this damage, because we want to see what our opponent's going to be playing post-combat. They didn't play a land, and they didn't play another creature. That does not bode well for them. At all. Now we have Beacon Bolt, we have a Lightning Strike to get rid of something if they do end up drawing it. If we draw another land, we're going to be able to Insight, and we would Insight before the Drake. You don't really want to play the Drake until it's probably about 3 power. Alright, so they did get another land. Okay, they're also playing Electrostatic Field, but they're playing it with Goblin Motivator. That feels very strange. Play a field of my own. Hope it doesn't die, but... So I have my own field, so now my spells get some sweet value out of them. Another field for my opponent. Not another land, though. I'm going to go ahead and main phase this Radical Idea to see if we get a land. And we deal a little bit of damage. We do get a land, which is fantastic. It's also a second blue source, which is what we really want to see, because it allows us to play our Crackling Drake whenever we need to. But let's see what our opponent plays. I'm hoping they just play a Guttersnipe so we can Lightning Strike. Oh, this is like actual perfectness. I need to talk about the fact that right now Arena's best of 1 system really like forces mirror matches for some reason. Like, I understand the way. Don't want to opt now. This isn't showing, but it should be a 3/4. I'm gonna continue that discussion after I decide what I want to do here. I actually think I might want to Chemister Insight. So there are different reasons to play different things. Opt, if I get a land, I can potentially play the Crackling Drake. Now I could Chemister's Insight, get a land, and play the Opt. Insight, just draw more cards. I think I would rather find more cards, because I'm not really under too much pressure here. Yeah, so that's fine. And we didn't draw another land, and we wouldn't have drawn it with the Opt, so I'm fine doing that. But yeah, so right now Arena has this weird... What? Why are you also playing Legion Warboss, though? That's so strange. Alright, I'll block it. I'm not worried about that at all. And we got another land, and we will just actually play this land because we do not mind having that power. Argument could be made to Beacon Bolt, but at some point I do want to get these Electrostatic Fields off the board. And since Drake is at 5, we're going to go and play this. It's going to be... Our opponent is either going to have to use 2 spells to get rid of it, or they're just going to die in a couple turns. Right, so we have this. Our opponent's dead. Like, really, really, really quickly. So, but yeah, for whatever reason... Oh, did forget about the Lava Coil. That is fair. For whatever reason, Arena's matchmaking system is taking the deck value into account a lot more than I would expect. And my assumption is that there's just not enough data yet in order to like have a wide diversity of what is in a different category. So I'm going to Beacon Bolt the field here. Yeah, go away. And I'm going to play the Guildgate. And I can use Radical Idea to draw end of turn and discard the Mountain. The reason I put the Guildgate down is because we wouldn't need to play a 3-mana card. We don't need to use the other Beacon Bolt. We could have, but I want to be a little safer and potentially save that for something else that's large that I have no idea what my opponent's playing. I'm hoping that it is just a symptom of the meta still being super new, so people aren't crafting as many cards, so there's just not as much data. That's unfortunate. Got rid of our thing. We're going to go ahead and do this. And we're going to get rid of the Mountain, just so we can still get the ping value off of this. But, I mean, our opponent has used a ton of their resources. I guess they can attack for 1 now, but I'm still at a fine life total. Not great. It's fine. And shock to me. Alright, yeah, so my opponent really is just trying to kill me as quickly as they can. And I think that's reasonable, considering the fact that there's not really a way to gain life in this deck. So I'm going to go down to 8. Another Guildgate. I am going to opt here. I would like another Crackling Drake. I'm really good at this game. Go and play the Drake. I'd love a shock. It's not a shock, but will we play this? I have so many cards in my hand that I'm still fine playing this. I did say that usually you're going to want to get to about 5 mana and just start discarding cards. However, because that's usually just because you need the cards. We have enough cards that we want to make sure we can play as many things as possible. If they're using 2 spells on my Crackling Drake, oh, okay, they're not. We might be dead. Okay, I need to kill my opponent quickly, which means playing like the cheapest cards I can. It also means getting rid of Electrostatic Field. So I play Guttersnipe, and I have enough for Opt and Beacon Bolt. So I'm going to Opt first. Nah. I'm going to Beacon Bolt their Electrostatic Field so that they can't kill me. Wait. 2, 4... This deals 4 damage technically, so my opponent would be at 8. So my opponent is technically dead. I'm going to wait until after I attack, because this would put them to 4 anyway. Right? I can do basic math. All right, cool. So my opponent's dead. Ooh, that was a little dicey. That was a little dicey. Well, we got there in the end, and I'm hoping that we don't face another mirror match. And it wasn't a true mirror match, but you could tell it was functionally identical. We both had fields, we both had a lot of burn, we both had Guttersnipes, so it was functionally a mirror match, even though it wasn't like truly one. going up against Magus 00. And I do hope that it's just because the meta's still like incredibly new and there's just not enough data. This is a fine hand. We have some early draw. We are missing some early interaction, some early removal, but hopefully we'll be able to get that, and we have pretty much all the mana we need for Crackling Drake. Yeah, you can start off with that. I constantly want to say Cackling Drake. Okay, this is good. This is very good. We have some sweet ideas. And our opponent did not have a turn 1 Llanowar Elf, which is very nice for me. I would love if you didn't have... Ooh, another not turn 2 play. Or another turn of no play. Whatever. Words are hard. I think I actually want to play the Guildgate here. I don't have anything to play on 3. I could, like... I could technically Radical Idea into an Opt. But once I get to a certain point, I would rather just use the Opts when I have, like, fields out. So this is fine. And I can Radical Idea. Drake will be at 2... Against the style of deck, I might want it. Wow, my opponent's not doing anything? I'm really afraid of what's in their hand. Like, incredibly afraid of what's in my opponent's hand. So I think I'm just going to play Drake now. It's a really small Drake, but the reason I'm playing it now is because whatever in my opponent's hand has to be, like, huge. And if it is huge, I need to kill them as quickly as possible. Because this deck doesn't handle large creatures very well. It also doesn't handle hexproof creatures very well. So I am going to play another Crackling Drake. And hope my opponent doesn't have like a bunch of opt and reach cards. Yeah, so I'm going to try and murder the crap out of my opponent as quickly as I can. Nah, I don't need that. I have plenty of lands. At this point, these are all just going in the bin. All of these getting dumpstered. Alright. Okay. For those of you who don't know, Vinemare is a thing I cannot kill with a Lightning Strike because it has hexproof. So my opponent is on green-black. So they could have Crawl Harpooners, but luckily Harpooners don't have anything in the yard yet, so they can't get value. They could dump stuff in the yard. Nope, just another Vinemare. Alright, this is a race. This is the purest form of race that ever there was. I could block, but I do think I'll win the race. Keyword think. Oh, Guttersnipe. Guttersnipe can also block. Yeah. I'll play a land because I have so much nonsense. I'm actually just going to Lightning Strike them in the face, like right now. Just because it makes these larger. So, I mean, my opponent is dead next turn. I will absolutely chump block. I don't think I need the Guttersnipe here because they would have to remove both of these Drakes. These don't have trample. They would have to give them trample. So it should technically be fine. And this is why I didn't block, because I assumed that I could win the race with my Drakes. Well, that's very, very bad. That is very, very, very bad. Okay. So I need to Insight. Because I can still win with... I still have plenty of shocks and things. Beacon Bolt can't kill that. This can chump block it if I have to. 7, 4... Beacon Bolt, I can't target it. I'll play a blue source. I think I play Electrostatic Field and don't block. Hoping that my opponent... Because if my opponent has 1 Titanic Growth, I don't die. It'd be 11 power. I did not expect this deck to be running Fine Finality. Because it seems like it's the mono green deck with a splash of black? I guess Fine Finality is meant to be in that deck. They have 4 cards left. All I need to do is cast 4 spells, and they Assassin's Trophy that, which is very bad for me. I'm just going to get a mountain. That's fewer lands that are left in my deck. But at this point, I do need to just draw... Well, I'm just going to do this now. Lightning Strike, Shock, Double Shock, any of that works. Ow. Sure. Elves doesn't matter. Okay, so that's an Electrostatic Field. Can I cast 4 spells with it? I have... blue shouldn't be a problem, so let's play this. I have 7 mana. 1, 2, I'm not sure. Let's see what let's cast Op first. See what we can get. Done. We win. Oh man, another really dicey one. Okay. Oh man. I mean, you can just win the game out of nowhere. Thanks to just the sheer amount of burn that we're playing. Look at those sweet rewards. And let's throw another game in, because the deck's pretty fun. And it wasn't a mirror match, which is really nice. I'm gonna quickly talk about some off-topic stuff. There's a new Coheed and Cambria album out. I really like Coheed and Cambria, and I'm loving this album. Going against West. West? I have no idea. But man, dude, freaking obviously Dark Santisor is just like the jammiest jam. This is fine. We have some early interaction, a ton of card draw, plenty of lands. We're going first, keeping it real is what we're doing. Yeah, we'll start this off because we have Opt and not Shock. But yeah, dude, Dark Santisor, great. I really love True Ugly and Queen of the Dark. Yeah, I like Burn. It's such a good album. If you like prog rock, alternative rock, stuff like that, check out Coheed and Cambria. They are awesome. They are my favorite band, and they probably will continue to be my favorite band for like the rest of time. Now, don't kill my Electrostatic Field. I need that to ping you, because I assume you're playing Control. Oh, hello. Interesting. Do I utilize a Lightning Strike on the Spybug? I'm not sure I do. I'm not sure I do at all. I am going to idea on my main phase. Got another field. The reason I'm not is because I have plenty of shocks, and I'm not technically worried about Spybug killing me faster than I can kill them. If they do start, doing annoying things, okay, that has to die. But I want this is really frustrating because I want to like Guttersnipe before I start shooting off my spells, but I just can't let that touch me. I could theoretically like Radical Idea and hope I get a land, but it's not consistent enough, so that just has to die. And I am getting some nice residual stuff going on here. Opponent is down to 5 cards. I'd love to draw a land so I could at least Electrostatic Field and hold up Lightning Strike to deal some extra damage. Ooh, okay, they're playing something for 4. Thought Eraser, okay. Maybe they're just going to double Thought Eraser me. I assume they're taking the Guttersnipe. Nope, they took the Lightning Strike. That makes sense. It's the one way I can remove Spybug. I guess I should have hit the Spybug. So let's see what they do here with the Surveil. Always try to be careful. Yeah, so our opponent did not put the card with Surveil on the bottom. Are they going to double Thought Eraser? If they were, they should have waited. Yeah, I mean, obviously I have stuff they can take. I assume now it's going to be Guttersnipe. No, they took the Chemister's Insight. That is interesting. I guess they have removal for Guttersnipe, is my guess. I said guess twice. Alright, Beacon Bolt is great. They're tapped out. I get to kill their threat and deal some damage, and we are currently in a decent position. My opponent does not have any pressure on the board. I do, and I have plenty of ways to draw cards. I have some more removal. We're in a good position. Can we capitalize it by drawing another land? That has hexproof. Crap. We're going to play field here, just so we can get more value with this Opt. Obviously, we could have played Opt first to try and get another land, but do I want this Lightning Strike? Opponent is at 13, deals technically 5 damage. I don't think I do. I think I just want to make sure I can hit another land drop. Ugh. Yeah, I might have to Radical Idea next turn. I'm not sure. I might just Guttersnipe, but go away, Thief of Sanity. I believe my opponent knows 1 card in my hand. Oh, they killed my guy. Ow. Alright, so I got a land, which is nice. So I pretty much have... I don't have to, but I'm going to Beacon Bolt this. I'm going to discard a Chemister's Insight, because I can functionally use it some more. I have 5 turns on this Nightveil Predator, sorry. Opponent has 2 cards in hand. Let's assume one is a land. Daughter Razor, sure. I assumed Guttersnipe's gone, which is frustrating because I would prefer to cast that. I can still cast these. I'm not sure if that's correct. My opponent has to have another removal spell. That has to be it. I am going to... Well, I can't Guttersnipe and play Radical Idea, which is frustrating. I could just Chemister's Insight, I guess. My opponent's at 12. I have 4 turns with just Nightveil Predator. I think I have to do this. Unfortunately, we kind of stumbled on lands there. We had 3 in our opening hand and plenty of draw, and we just didn't get there on time. Our opponent might be killing this now. Yeah, that's what it looks like they're doing. Oh, they're countering. Fair. Let's see what they do with the Surveil. Alright, they drop it. Okay, so that is bad. Next turn, I probably will just play Guttersnipe, no matter what I end up drawing. That's awful. That's not good. That takes it from 4 turns to 2. I am dead next turn. And I don't think there's a darn thing I can do about it. I have to Radical Idea for exactly Beacon Bolt or the tap card, which means I have to get rid of Guttersnipe because I would have to play the land in order to do that. Yep, I need to get exactly Beacon Bolt or the tap card. Come on, Heart of the Cards. Alright, we're dead. Yeah, darn, that's unfortunate. I do think if we drew the lands earlier, we would have been pretty well, because we would have gotten the Guttersnipe down earlier. And it would have died instead of the other Electrostatic Field. We would have gotten more value, but still, I think that still showcased that the deck is strong, even at a non-dominant position. Oh, we have 2K? Heck yeah, let's buy some packs. What's the thing I want to buy? Let's buy a core set pack. They're not flashy, but they get the job done. Hey, Man of the Meek's good. Well, I crafted Ritual of Suits, so that is awkward. Or, excuse me, Rituals of Suit. So I keep saying suit. Quasi duplicate. I'm sure someone's going to ask me to make a meme deck with this card. I just don't know of a good home for it. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the entire Guilds of Ravnica budget mechanics. We are going to hop into the non-budget versions coming up within, during this month. As I said, I'm going to have to make them as I can. But that's made easier by Easymote, DizzyFam, Radberry, Daniel, Flowerchild, Chow83, and Zaraga, because they support the channel over on Patreon. Their support allows me to do these cool deck series that everyone seems to be enjoying. If you would like to join them supporting the channel, you'll find the link to the Patreon down below. You will also find the link to the Discord down below in the description, because we chat about Magic and stuff, and it's fun. You should totally join. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, go and tap that like button, add a subscription to your Mana Pool, and cast a comment to the comment section down below. And until next time, all will be one.